the Barstool College Football Show presented by Phillips Norelco. We are live from Barstool HQ. It's week 10. Brandon, we're just going to have to start right off the top. You look beautiful in your yell leader suit. Everyone's making fun of you. I think you look beautiful. Yes, Dave?
Not too many people have made fun of me, a little bit, but I live up to my bets.
Well, here's the thing. We're making fun of you by the fact that you look totally normal in it.
I actually would like to bring something to the table's attention, which I feel needs major attention. And that is, I am proposing Brandon Walker's punishment be extended a week.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I walked out of advisors today, around the corner, and he was in street clothes, sitting there, did not have the outfit on.
He's been
putting it on for like 3 hours a day.
That should be coming home with you. You should be wearing it to work.
I can't wear that on the train. I don't have pockets.
You have a backpack.
Yeah, you got a backpack.
Oh, man, I feel like that should be an extra week.
No, I'll be changed in 5 minutes.
What's the point of making a bet if you're just not going to wear it?
I ain't gonna wear it.
It's unbelievable.
There it is.
Nice, Brandon. You look good. You look hot.
That is not. You have to wear this on the subway.
I
everywhere.
can't wear it on the train.
Why?
It's too sheer. It's cheap material.
What are you
I'll freeze to
talking
death.
about?
You'll freeze?
Wear a jacket.
No, I'm not wearing a jacket. Well, that defeats the purpose of wearing it.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, let's wear pants over the top of it then?
I'm
Don't
taking
be
your bell away.
ridiculous.
bell.
But
Ring your bell.
you can't. You're like. You are. You stole
Did you
the bell.
tape
No,
it?
I put a little thing in there. I couldn't ring it.
But you lost the bet.
You lost the bet.
And I'm wearing it.
No,
I wore
you're
it all
not.
day
You're wearing it
yesterday.
at your convenience.
I wore it all day yesterday. I'm wearing it all day today.
No, you weren't wearing it all day. I walked by you. Didn't have it on.
Do you really want the truth?
Yes.
I had a teachers meeting with my kid this
No,
morning.
that's perfect time to
So
wear it.
I,
You should
so I
actually
wore
have
my
had it
jeans
on.
and I came in and put this on.
Dan and I once bet on Blackhawks Bruins.
Yes.
Loser had to wear pads for a week or month.
It was a week. We went
It
to
was
the bar.
130 degrees
We
out.
were at the bar at 1 a.m. He was in full pads.
I appreciate the history lesson, but I am wearing it today. I will wear it the rest of the day. I'm wearing it.
But that's not, if you don't wear it in the morning, if you don't wear it, if you have to get up out of bed and put it on. That's the bet.
All right.
Brandon.
Also,
I have a problem.
Yeah,
I'd
I
like
was
to
going
bring
to
something
say,
to the
before
table.
you guys sat down today, he had a lot of gripes about this.
So last week, Kayce's team played my team.
Yep.
And we
They kicked
engaged
your ass.
in a gentlemanly
did.
bet
Yep.
between two colleagues.
That was for unnecessary roughness.
Right?
Yeah.
And for this show.
No, not
no,
this
it was
show.
made on this show.
No, it
it was
wasn't
for
for
this
this show.
show.
That's
That's how
right.
you're trying to wiggle out of this.
No, I
Wiggle
don't
out
know
of what?
wiggle out of what?
Wisconsin
Wiggle out
played.
of what?
Wisconsin played Michigan. You guys didn't make a bet.
But
Wisconsin
we
played
don't have
Ohio
a
State last
podcast
week.
together.
You didn't make a bet.
We don't have a podcast.
You're
Well,
on the show
technically you do.
together.
It's called Pride.
No, this was
Well,
on
what
this
is your
show.
point?
Man's
That
pride.
you made a bet and we didn't?
You guys made the bet for us.
No,
What are
you
you
said
talking about? You guys
beforehand.
agreed to
You guys made the bet for us.
I mean, I agreed to it because I knew Anna was going to
Brandon,
win.
Are you saying you didn't agree to the bet?
If Mississippi State loses,
Yes.
Brandon has to wear Kayce's leggings for an entire month.
A month is extreme.
But
the
you
same
can get the
pair?
other side.
The same pair or just...
Different. He can buy a different pair.
Okay.
Everybody loses, by the way.
Yeah. Well, this one's even worse.
Okay, what about wearing a yell leader costume, the milkman costume, as you would say? You have to wear that for a week.
Oh, that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, you have to wear
I
that
would
for a
do
week.
that. I agreed to the bet.
Then what are we talking about?
Why are only Kayce and I held to
You
the
have a
standards of
podcast.
having a bet on this
You
show?
have a podcast together.
Did you?
This bet was made on
We
the
just
show.
said we had a Bruins.
That was
Blackhawks.
years ago. This year, your teams played. You guys didn't make a bet.
Well, it's Pride.
Your teams played. You didn't make a
Pride.
But hold on. It came up naturally. It wasn't like you guys made a bet. You
bet.
agreed
It
to
came
it.
up naturally. I believe
This
you
is what are
guys
you, a
said.
crybaby?
I'm not a crybaby. I'm
Sounds
saying
like
if
a
I'm going to be
crybaby.
held to the standard, why is the rest of the show held to the
Here,
standard?
I'll explain it very easily, okay? When Michigan and Wisconsin played, both those teams had a path to go to the college football championship, okay?
What's
when
that matter?
Ohio State and Wisconsin played, both those teams had a path. When our teams play, it means something. When your teams play, we have to add a stupid bet so people will actually watch.
To be fair, Brandon, and I hate to side with Dan, but the only reason we made a bet was because I had to put it in the points bet lock of the week because we weren't going to talk about the game.
And to be
cared.
honest, nobody was holding a gun to your head. You don't want to make a bet, don't you? Big
No, I
boy.
made the bet. I made the
So
bet.
then what are you talking
White
about?
crime.
I'm just saying it's odd that.
Make the bet, honor the bet when you lose.
I'm
which
honoring
you're
the
not.
bet.
No, you're not.
Look at me. I'm
Get
not honoring
on
the
the
bet.
show. It's funny, but you have to wear it all the time.
I'm not wearing it to my kids'
So
school.
then
They're
you
going to
don't
think I'm a
honor bets.
pedophile.
So what?
Look at me. I can't wear this to a school.
You know what's easy enough to do? I lost the bet.
You look like you got out of
I
an
lost
insane
the bet.
asylum, not
Yeah,
a pedophile.
but
That's
when they're
tough.
like, hey, why are you wearing an A&M like milkman? I lost the bet.
I lost the bet. Daddy's got to pay the bills.
It's just, I don't like seeing people who welch on their bets, and that's what you are.
This is not. I'm not welching on my
You-
bet.
big
I
deal.
wore it all day
You
yesterday.
threw that on to come on the show. Big deal.
I threw it on hours ago.
I walked by you. When did you throw it on? Why'd you throw it on when you did?
You told me, hey, you should be wearing it. So I was
Yeah,
putting it on.
exactly.
I was going to put it on the whole
You were
way.
sitting,
It was sitting right beside me, Dave.
You were sitting doing your
I had
minding your
just
business,
gotten here.
wearing civilian clothes.
Can we change real quick to a little story time?
I think we
Little
need story
Barstool
time.
story
I think
time?
we need
Okay,
story
should
time.
ready
have
for
to
this?
wear it
Here's the
another week.
Barstool
He
story time.
didn't want to wear it tomorrow.
Now-
He said he thought 2 days was good enough.
But he.
That's not what I said.
I'm going to
I
give you
said-
Barstool story time. It's related to the bet.
Okay.
So everyone knows Dave's bad picture where he's paying the little girl for candy.
The one that
What
Ellie
people
recreated.
don't know
Yeah.
is the reason why he
what?
was.
What?
Ellie recreated that picture.
Oh yeah.
What?
The reason why
Ellie was the little
Dave
girl
was
in
in his
I never
regular
knew that.
clothes.
You didn't know that?
I knew it was White Pig.
The reason why Dave was in his regular clothes and looked like that,
Mm-hmm.
because we had that bet. The Blackhawks beat the Bruins. He wore pads for an entire week. On Friday night, we were coming back from Greg Olson's, or Saturday night, Greg Olson's kickball tournament. We're in the cab, and Dave mentally broke me down and was like, come on, let me have one dinner as a normal human being. One dinner. And I was like, no. And he's like, come on, like, I just want to feel like a normal human being. And finally I was like, you know what? You can take off the pads. You can dress as a normal human being. He dressed as a normal human being. The next second I saw him when he changed, he goes, I never would have let you out of those pads. And then,
The
so
picture
he
happened?
mentally, and then the picture happened.
The same
so
outfit?
the picture, yes it is. I know exactly where we were.
So the
I know
green
exactly
polo
where we
shirt
were.
is when you let him
That's
out of the pads.
exactly where it was.
That's incredible.
I
Yes.
never would have let him out of the pads.
Yes.
So technically you should have been wearing the
Went to
pads in
Lily's
that picture.
Q in Chicago, and it one of my favorite barbecue places, and I remember it so vividly. So you can't be let out of that bet until you mentally wear Kayce down. That's the moral of the story.
Well, he's not even doing
No,
it.
he's
No,
not.
he's
I
just crying.
warned him all
Doing
day
the
yesterday.
bet.
He's happy that I said I was going to sexually harass him.
He's crying.
That's like if you bet $10 and lost, like, I'll give you $6. I paid.
Also, you look good, dude. You look better than when you wear your fucking Mississippi State shirt and your like mesh shorts and look like a big like 14
Like today
year
When
old
doesn't-
have I ever worn mesh shorts?
every day.
Oh, you didn't when Kentucky gave them to you, warm. It's
West Virginia.
This
Sweet package.
today does not count as honoring the bet at all.
No, that's bullshit. That's
You
bullshit.
just
Dave.
make up your own rules.
So what?
How does
so,
this not count as honoring the bet?
Sleep in it.
Because you weren't dressed in that this morning. I saw you, and I'm like,
Also,
Brandon, what the
this
fuck?
thing is so cheap. This thing is going to fall
Oh my
apart.
God.
so what's the final decision? How long does he have to wear it?
He's just
Can
the
I buy-
final decision
can I-
is Brandon Walker has lost all credibility on
Correct.
this show.
Can I buy my way out of the bet?
Yeah, sure.
you can
how
wear
much
Ole
money?
Miss stuff one day. We told you that last week. If you wear Ole Miss,
$10,000
oh,
to a charity of our choosing.
No.
Okay.
what about Ole Miss?
How long do I have to wear it?
Oh,
day.
Yes, I will agree to that.
That's what we said last week. If you wore Ole Miss stuff head
Yep.
to toe all day, but you got to
Yep.
be on camera
I'm
the
fine
whole
with
Do you
time.
agree?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But from the second, like, you got to wake up, put it on, take the subway, get
Take
here.
a picture.
All
yeah.
of it. It's
Gotta
not
be on
like-
the
it's not like,
rundown,
I'm
get
wearing it
everything.
now. I threw it on to come on the show.
All right.
Spider ordered 2X Ole Miss.
Okay.
Shit.
But he
Done.
has to do the whole thing. It can't
Yeah.
just be like a stupid little Ole Miss logo.
I
It
did
has
not-
to be the
Yeah.
whole
Hat,
red and blue hat.
This is terrible. I hate this. Is uncomfortable.
Actually,
it
I would
doesn't fit.
prefer a visor.
Oh yeah.
I prefer
Yeah,
a
like
visor.
Hugh
Hugh
Freeze
Freeze.
visor.
Visor, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. You're one of your
But
heroes.
you have to wear it,
All day.
commute, everything.
I will take a picture leaving my house. I will send it to you or tweet it out.
Okay, fine.
You agree to this?
Yes.
All right.
I want it next Tuesday because I think we're going to be live streaming stuff, so I want it next
Oh
Tuesday.
no, I feel like he needs to do it on this show too.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Credibility
maybe
restored?
Tuesday
Yeah,
and Wednesday.
credibility restored.
Yeah.
As soon as you do it. Tuesday, and then you have to do it on this show Wednesday.
Question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I'm doing that, when this show ends, I can take this off.
Yes.
No, you have to wear it for unnecessary roughness.
When we finish that
Yes.
show, I can
Deal.
take this off.
Yes.
Yes,
Fine.
deal.
All right.
Deal. All right, let's move on. Quite a start to this show. Let's go to the Bud Light Weekend Preview. The best way to enjoy college football game days are with refreshing, crisp Bud Lights. Not a great slate this weekend for the top 5 teams. Have bye weeks. Clemson's playing Wofford, so not a great slate. But we're going to just start with your favorite team now, Brandon. You're going to be repping them. Ole Miss at number 11, Auburn. Auburn is favored by 20. So now that you are Mr. Hugh Freeze next week, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, so that's for next week. This week, I can talk about Auburn. Listen, they went to LSU. I've been on Auburn all year. This is a good spot for them. They need a defense that's not very good, so Bo Nix can bounce back. They just lost their other freshman quarterback to transfer yesterday. So Nix has a job forever now. Ole Miss has been good, but their good freshman quarterback is possibly injured, might not play. I think Auburn
Ole Miss
wins.
has been good.
Ole Miss has been
Their
decent
offense has
offensively.
been
Offensively,
able to-
they've been good with
They-
John
they-
Rice
Rich Rod.
Plumlee
Well,
and
they're
Rich
doing
Rod.
the, yeah, they're doing the
But
two
they
QB
lost their
system,
running
too.
quarterback. He's
Yeah,
potentially
bet on
hurt
it
against
Sunday.
Auburn. So I got Auburn hammering Ole Miss. I know a lot of experts have said Ole Miss is going to keep it close. I don't think so. Auburn's been waiting for a team they can blow the doors off of. They played a very tough schedule. I think it happens this week. Auburn, hammer them.
Let me ask you a question. Because of Ole Miss's quarterback situation, and they have been better offensively, how is this under not going to hit?
So it's
Yeah, the
good.
total's 52
Auburn has
and a
a
half.
great defense.
Right.
Auburn has a quarterback who's not going to score a lot of points.
Right.
The under makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so there's my pick.
Yeah, I'll give you the answer. 7 o'clock game, Saturday night,
Ah.
college football plays. That's how the under
Is that on the
doesn't hit.
SEC network?
I think so.
Damn.
I would have actually gone with Ole Miss here if this is early in a sleepwalk game, that Auburn is coming off all these big games. They just don't show up. The night game makes me nervous because people generally get up, crowds louder, football plays happen.
Ole Miss also is just really bad.
Oh, they're bad.
Really, really bad.
They're bad.
They
This-
beat Arkansas and Vandy.
It's not good that this is the fifth
And, like,
best
some
game
team
on
that
the,
doesn't
on the
matter.
slate.
Oh, I know. That's why I
It was
stuck
this or
ahead.
Michigan, Maryland.
I'll
Swear to
take,
God.
Yes.
Swear to God.
Terrible.
I'll take Auburn, but I don't like the game. I'm not going to bet it.
I don't like it either.
Yeah, I'm going to take Auburn as well. I think Ole Miss is that bad, and I think that Bo Nix is actually going to be able to play against this defense. He sucked last week, but completely
Bonix
different defense.
is not very
No,
good.
it's not.
No,
good
he's
at
not, but
all.
Ole Miss
It
defense isn't good
actually-
either.
It makes me mad that I lost that bet when I took Oregon week 1. Seeing Bo Nix
Yeah,
be bad every
I
week.
had
And
Oregon.
everybody kept
like, I
calling
want
him like
that
the
money back.
legend that
Oh.
week because he made the one good pass.
I want that money back.
I have,
Ole Miss's defense
I
is
did have
horrible.
Auburn last week. I think I was the only one on this panel who had that right.
Yeah, because he
lock
calls
of
him a
the
fraud.
I had LSU. I was
Yeah, I had
wrong.
Auburn.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yep.
Game number 2, number 9, Utah at Washington. Utah is -3.5. The total is 47.5. Utah has something to play for. Obviously, they do have the one loss to USC, but they're back in the mix in the Pac-12. Dan, what do you think?
I like Washington in this game because, all right, so first, Washington beat Utah twice last year. So there's not going to be any kind of intimidation or like they know each other and they beat them twice. I think the one thing that Utah usually has over every other Pac-12 team is line play, and I think Washington is the one team that can match that line play. So I like Washington +3.5.
They both compete for the Samoans.
Yes, the Samoans are big-time defensive linemen. They're going to be all over the place. You like that analysis?
I do like the analysis. I also like Washington in this game, and it's not really deep analysis. I know Oregon went up there. Oregon, I think, is a little bit better than Utah this year, and Oregon barely survived in Washington. Husky Stadium's going to be keyed up for this. Washington's had some disappointing games, but Chris Peterson can get a team up when he has to. I like Washington to win outright. in
You
this
like
game.
Jacob Eason going into the season. He had a pretty good game
I'm a big
against
Jacob
Oregon.
Eason guy.
Yeah.
I love watching games at Washington. I
Great
just
Oh, they're
love
so
watching
Yeah.
it.
Stadium
Sailgating.
moves.
Yeah.
I'm just
Stadium
thinking about
moves.
it.
Can we
It's
do a
just
game
an
there next year?
afternoon thing.
Can we go
It's
sailgate
far.
next
It's a
year?
long way.
Really
Very
far.
far.
Really, really far.
Can't take the PJ
Seattle.
there.
No, you
you
can't.
Can't take the
Nope,
PJ.
nope.
Dave, what do you think?
I love the board this week in college football, but I'm starting to get very nervous because we're all in unison, and that's generally when things go south. I also like Washington. Utah's not a team that I take on the road yet. They maybe never will be. So I'm going to take Washington at home. I think it's a close game. I think Washington wins. I sound like these two guys, and that makes me nervous.
But Utah sneaky has one of the most productive offenses in the country that nobody's really talking about. So why? I mean, it's
They've
only
had some
3.5.
Quarterback injury issues. I don't know if he's a full go for this game.
Tyler Huntley,
Huntley's
yeah.
been kind of in and out.
I think they're saying he is a full go.
They
Though.
played Cal last week, and they didn't have to score much to win that game. They shut out Cal.
Yeah, they didn't have to score at all.
Right. They'll have.
Cal was on their
And Zach
third string
Moss is
quarterback.
really good. I'm surprised that you're not. I mean, you've been on Utah all season.
I have. It's tricky going into Washington. Oregon barely survived, and Utah is. I mean, Washington's going to be
Washington
keyed
also
up.
lost to Stanford.
I wanted to check the Utah road schedule, but Pete doesn't let us use Wi-Fi, so I have no idea who Utah
Well, they
played
lost
on
at
the road.
USC. We know
Right.
that.
We were at Madison.
Which is
Yeah,
a game
that's
that
the
I
only
said,
game that they
right.
lost.
You called that when it happened.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So.
but Washington also lost to Stanford.
Yeah, Washington's got a couple losses that aren't great. They lost to Cal at home, and Utah just beat Cal 35-0 in a game they didn't.
But
have to
that's
play there.
different because
it is different.
Okay, remember the Washington. You can't do apples to apples on that
Never.
because the Washington Cal game was the game that got thunderstorms and they played
3
it
a.m.
like 7 hours later, and Cal still had their quarterback.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly, but it's still a tricky spot to go. Washington against Chris Peterson and a good
Say it like-
quarterback.
Yeah.
What do you
Say
mean
like
by,
Lee
what do you
Corso.
mean by like tricky? Are you
Wor-
just saying
Washington.
Washington's a tough place to play because everyone kind of knows that?
Road games in the Pac-12
Right.
have really
There's-
tripped everybody. Yeah,
There's nothing tricky about it. That's
so
why
it's gonna
we're
be
all
tough
taking
then.
Washington.
Tough.
Yeah, okay,
Sorry.
good.
That's
Utah
definitely,
on the
you definitely
road.
should take umbrage with that word because I was so out of line.
Utah on the
Well,
road.
it's not tricky. Tough.
Tricky or tough, I feel like both seem the same. I think they both mean the same thing in this context.
Like going to Cal may be tricky.
I know you got to meet your quota of shitting on Brandon Walker on the show, but tricky and tough are the same thing.
Tricky and tough.
No,
playing at Northwestern early can be tricky. Playing at Ohio State
is tough.
If you are Utah and you are the better team and you're going into Washington, a team who's got some disappointing losses, but you're playing a great coach and a great quarterback, yes, it's tough. It's also tricky. That's okay.
It's not tricky.
Let's just all shit on Brandon Walker. It's my favorite segment of the whole fucking show.
It's hard to play at Washington. I don't know if it's tricky.
Correct, because everyone knows it's hard, so it's not tricky. It's hard.
It's just not 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Semantics.
When Alabama goes and plays at Mississippi State, it is never tough.
Last time they were there, they won by 7 points and got lucky to get the fuck out of there. No, it was tough. It was tough as shit. Oh, damn it.
You wearing that when you get mad, it does look like you should be putting a straight jacket. He looks so much.
Brandon, I love you.
Yeah, that's great, Dan.
Okay.
He's gonna burst something.
Oh, I know. He's gonna punch.
Have we met our quota, or are we gonna do that again?
No, we
just
got
just for the record, though, like anyone who watches back, we are right. Like Washington is a tough place to play. Everyone knows it. Therefore, it's not tricky. If you know it's tough, it's not tricky. It's tough.
My mistake for using the word tricky as a synonym of tough. That is my mistake.
Accept your apology.
Right.
Yeah. Whether it's tricky or tough, I think Utah's gonna win. I like Tyler Huntley, and I don't think Washington's that good, despite what Brandon Walker says. Let's go.
That song tricky. It's
Tricky.
Yeah.
It's not tough.
When you kids on the block did hanging tough.
Yeah, that's true.
I saw them live at Fenway. Great concert.
I bet it was.
It was.
No, I was agreeing.
I agreed with your agreement.
Okay, moving on. Number 15, SMU at number 24, Memphis. This is prime time at the Liberty Bowl. This is a New Year's Six Bowl spot right now. Obviously, both of these teams being in the mix. A lot of people talking about how it's the college game day show, how they've all the hype around there. I really don't know a whole lot about what to expect from Memphis, but I know SMU is very good.
Tricky place to play, Kayce.
I love that they do the tiger stripes on their helmets.
Yeah.
It's like a cooler version of the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I'm looking at the over right now. I like Memphis at home. It's a tough place to play when Memphis is really going. I'm sorry to say the same thing.
Memphis is favored by 5.5.
When Memphis is really going, they do fill that place up.
That's
they
what
don't
I'm saying. I don't know
always
much
fill it
about
up.
playing at Memphis.
For this game, they'll fill it up. It's an impressive stadium when it's full. And SMU.
What does that mean?
God almighty, Dave. What do you mean? What does it mean? I have to provide dictionary definitions every time I say a word.
It's a tough place to play when they fill it up.
No, impressive place.
Impressive place to play.
When I said I don't know a whole lot about playing at Memphis, that was your time to not do what you just did.
By the way, here's a good thing, Brandon.
The Liberty Bowl.
Yes.
obviously.
We have fallen ass backwards into a new segment that we will do starting next week. Brandon Walker's tricky versus tough places in the week, where you will highlight a tricky game and a tough game until you learn what the difference is.
So is the Liberty Bowl tricky or tough?
It's both. So Memphis is good. I like Memphis. I like Memphis to cover. SMU's been a good story. Shane Buechele's outstanding. I like him, but Memphis is going to score a lot of points. I think Memphis wins and covers. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Great analysis. I like the over with Dan, but again, it's something everybody's picking the over. I have won a lot on SMU. We jumped off them. So the analysis or the brain think that I'm using here, last week we all loved SMU early, and then we're all talking ourselves into a lather, SMU. And it's like the line dropped from 14 to 12. It's like, why is that happening? I actually publicly reversed to Houston, who covered. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of groupthink going on. I'm getting nervous. Right now, I'm on the over. That could change.
SMU's having its best season since before the death penalty, though, which I feel like they're going to keep playing that way. And, and Sonny Dykes is also talking about he refuses to let the team get there any earlier than 2 hours before the game because he was talking shit about visitors' locker rooms. Did you see all that?
No.
He was saying that they either have no AC, no heat, or there's no rooms for his players to sit, so he always gets there like less than 2 hours before. I feel like he's a man with a plan.
Such a great name.
And great uniforms.
Sonny Dykes.
Arguably the best uniforms in
Yeah.
college
And Shane
football right
Buechele,
now.
good quarterback.
Also, I love watching SMU just to watch the old Pony Express highlights with Craig James and Eric Dickerson.
So you guys aren't going to touch the line. You're just going to touch the,
I'm just
the
going
total?
over. I would think if I had to go team, I would take SMU. I think it's close all the way to the end.
Same.
I'm also going to take SMU. I think they're the better team, and they're 8-0, like I said. Like
I
Sonny
took
Dykes,
Memphis.
I like Shane Buechele. All right, well, you're going to be wrong. Let's do number 7, Oregon at USC. So a night game in the Coliseum. Oregon is favored by 4.5, and the total is 62. And obviously, Oregon right now leading the Pac-12 for the chances to be in the college football playoff.
Wrong about the night game. This is my favorite part. The fact that it's a 5 o'clock kick there. So
You're going to have some
Yeah.
serious sunset, although the
Yes.
wildfires may affect that a little bit.
Oh, I didn't even think about the
Remember
wildfires.
the Matt
Yeah,
Brown?
you
The
can't-
only thing Matt Brown's ever done for this
That
company.
was maybe the worst thing. I was on the wrong side of that. I watched the game and they were coming out with like oxygen masks.
Yeah.
They couldn't breathe.
Matt Brown, literally the one thing he's done for this company is wildfire hunters. But this,
So it's like a half-night game.
which is the best.
Plus
of
a hazy,
all
smoky
time.
game.
That is
Correct.
the best of all time. When you get these, because when you're playing on the East Coast, it has to be a 3:30 kick for a half-night game. Now going out here, we changed our clocks this weekend.
Yeah, it's
Do
fall
we?
back.
Fall
Yeah.
back.
I don't have time to get into how I can't understand fall back versus fall forward.
I just realized that.
Fall back, spring forward.
Yeah, that means nothing to me. I think you can define it both ways and confuse yourself either way.
Correct.
And then I outthink myself because I know I get it wrong, so I'm like, I get it wrong this way, but I can't
You gain
get
an hour this weekend. That's all that matters.
Again, you can
Right, but if
say
you
that
gain an
both
hour,
ways.
why is it
Move
fall
it backwards.
back?
Gain an hour meaning what?
You get an extra hour of sleep that night.
At 2 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right.
You get an extra hour of sleep this Saturday. When it happens in the spring, you lose
But
an hour
he's
of
going to be
sleep.
on the West Coast, so you're all screwed. You're going to be in a.
You're
You
done.
might actually never return.
If this was
You're in a
8
time portal.
I was debating if I was home, this would be kind of a fun game to go to. I've never been to the Coliseum
Why don't you go?
because I don't. It's 5 o'clock, so I don't know that I'll be home.
No, you won't.
Right.
Yeah. Damn. But the hour, no, it doesn't happen yet.
Right.
You've confused him. You've gone your entire life
You
not
get the hour
understanding
on
it.
Sunday.
The time portal.
I don't know. Like you can define it if you gain
42
it.
years, you've just never
If you
cared to
gain an
understand.
hour of sleep, you can literally make that work both ways.
No, because you lose it in the spring.
But you can define that both ways.
Okay. Well, you gain an hour this weekend. This game.
I need it to be if I wake up and my clock normally says 8. Does it say 7 or 9
7.
now?
7.
Fallback will say 7.
Right.
And now it gets dark early,
So
which
you could
sucks.
say you gain an hour of sleep
So if
that
you,
way.
Yes.
right, which is what I, yeah.
Well, you said
gain-
you lost.
But you
No, in the
lost.
spring, you lose an hour of sleep. In the fall, you get an extra hour of sleep. You gain
But
it.
you can say
That's
you can
confusing
make
me
it
too.
work both
not
ways
confusing.
to
Okay.
fit
It's
your
not.
narrative.
It's just not confusing.
Well,
Anyways, let's go back to
It's a
this
tricky
game.
situation.
Let's go back to this game. Like I said, Oregon actually in contention right now for the college football playoff spot. Only that one loss to Auburn. But again, the Pac-12 always cannibalizes each other. And USC has kind of played both ways this year. And I also saw this week that people are comparing Keaton Slovis like Matt Leinart in 2003, Sam Darnold in 2016. People are losing their minds. He's played 5 games. So what do you guys think?
I take the over.
You're over on all these games.
62?
No, under
Oh, you were under. That's right.
Washington, over.
So this is obviously where Utah's season got tripped up, or their undefeated season got tripped up. But I don't think it happens twice. I think Oregon, they're close enough to the end. I like Oregon to go in there and cover this game.
Okay.
I'm going to take USC at home. I like the points. Similar logic to the Washington. I would say it is USC, the Coliseum, going in, facing the fight song and the march on, all that stuff. I would say that is not a tricky place to play. That is a tough place to play.
We're back there.
I will take USC.
Would you agree, tricky or tough?
They mean the same damn thing.
No, they don't.
They mean the same
don't.
damn
They
thing.
don't.
Not even close.
Would you say that USC's wide receiving core is tricky, Brandon?
Let me put it this way, Brandon. A tricky place is a place a coach has to like get his team up.
Correct.
Like watch out. This is not what you think. You don't have to get up to
Right.
go to USC or Washington.
Right.
All right.
Do you want me to give you a quick quiz? I'll give you a quiz off the top of my head. Ohio State at Indiana.
Tricky.
Okay, there you go.
No, that's not. That's
I
neither.
wouldn't
That's
say that's,
neither.
I would say that's neither. I
That's
No, that
neither.
could be tricky.
No, that's neither.
Yeah, that could be tricky. Let's see. Oh, no, Ohio State at Purdue. That's tricky.
It has been in the past, sure.
Okay.
But wasn't it tough that night?
We're going to go to the biggest game of the week. It's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. It's in Jacksonville. We were there last year. It's always a big scene. Of course, the winner of this game is the presumed winner of the SEC East. Right now, I mean, Georgia's favored by 6.5. Obviously, Florida's had a pretty good season. The total is 46, but Florida is ranked higher than Georgia. So what do you guys think? I'll let you start, Brandon.
Yeah, so I've kind of been on Florida all year. I've known what they're going to do. I correctly predicted them against Auburn, against LSU. I don't think the number can scare me here. Georgia is a team that
Really?
everybody is giving up. Hammer Georgia. Everybody's kind of put them in the past. Jake Fromm hasn't looked good. They don't throw the ball down the field, but they've had a bye week to hear how mediocre they are. Their best win, Notre Dame at home. That doesn't look good all of a sudden. Georgia has so much more talent than Florida. Florida has a better coaching staff, but this one game, I think Georgia comes out after the bye week and just beats the piss out of Florida.
So you think Dan Mullen's a better coach than Kirby Smart?
Dan Mullen is a much better coach than Kirby Smart, but Kirby Smart has acquired better players than Dan Mullen has because Kirby Smart changed the cost of doing business at Georgia.
Bam! That's my guy. That's my guy. You're back.
I love Georgia in this game.
Dan, what do you think?
I like Florida. This just seems like a game that always gets played pretty close, and I also kind of like the under. I don't really understand, yeah, you can have a pick six, you can have a fumble on a punt or something, but 46 seems too high for Georgia, who runs the ball and plays great defense, and Florida, who is not necessarily explosive on offense and also plays great defense.
It's going to come down to if Florida's defense can get to Jake Fromm.
I think at some point, Kirby Smart and that offense are going to realize they have 5-star receivers and a quarterback who's probably going to the NFL. Maybe they need to stop throwing in the flats every play. Maybe they need to stop running every play. They've got explosive players. They need to stretch the field at some point. Listen, Tennessee beat the shit out of South Carolina by throwing down the field, and Georgia never would throw it down the field against South Carolina, and that cost them to lose. I think they're going to figure it out. Georgia is going to be better offensively.
Okay.
Dave, what do you think?
That's some good analysis.
I'm taking Florida. I think.
I don't know.
Good. We can hear you, right?
Yeah.
When you talk, we can hear you.
He did the whole time when he was in the car with me.
What's wrong? What do we need to fix? The light's fucked
The
up.
light's
Oh, that is. I see it.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Sorry, Tom.
I like Florida plus.
It's Tom, by the way.
Yeah, you can't talk with
You know
Dave
Tom?
on set.
It's
Yeah,
Tom.
this is Tom.
Hey, Tom. I like Florida and the points.
Dana's like so happy that someone else is getting
Look how
yelled at.
happy Dana
He's
is
so
right now.
happy.
Well, Dana saw the light and didn't say anything.
I like Florida. I will say, it wouldn't shock me. I like Florida a lot, but it wouldn't shock me if Georgia won. But here's the thing that Georgia has done the last couple of seasons. They turn the switch. They have started slow, and then all of a sudden they put their foot on the accelerator. They become one of the best teams in the country.
They destroyed Florida last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the
absolutely
question
destroyed
is that switch going to be flipped? And Brandon's betting that it is coming off the bye, and it could because they have done this the last couple of years. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to bank on that happening. I'll take Florida.
I'm going to take Florida too. I think 6.5 is too much, and I think that defense can get to Jake Fromm. And like you just said, I don't like what Kirby Smart does with this offense.
I don't think this is going. I think this is either like Florida wins or they lose by 20. I don't think it's going to
So
be.
it's not this cover. Like they're just going to win outright, or
I think Florida wins or they get killed.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. I just think the switch is going to get flipped. Georgia's too good to play the way they've been playing.
They flipped it the last couple seasons.
Yeah, there's just so much talent there. It's a ridiculous amount of talent.
And your buddy Paul Feinbaum, who I know you love and agree with everything he said that this is big time on Kirby Smart. That Dan Mullen doesn't have that much pressure on him. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Paul Feinbaum's a moron, and I would discount anything that he says.
Except for this, maybe?
Thank you for setting me up with that. I don't give a fuck what Paul Feinbaum says about Dan Mullen, Kirby
There's
Smart, or
nobody who
anybody
has
else.
more animosity to every single person who's known in the SEC than you. You just hate him.
That's not
Hey,
true.
your
That's
Paul
not true.
Feinbaum rant
I
went
love
viral
Peter
last
Burns
week.
of the SEC Network.
Okay, there we
And
go.
Laura Rutledge.
I
Tim
like
Tebow?
Laura Rutledge. I like Tim Tebow. Yes, I don't have animosity towards anybody in the SEC except
Okay.
for Paul Feinbaum and anybody affiliated with Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn, or LSU.
You don't like Stingray Steve.
I don't like Stingray Steve at all.
Tennessee, too.
Tennessee as well. They're
You
terrible.
just really don't like anybody in the SEC at all.
I
Well, he had
love
a
one
couple
team. I do not like the rest.
Okay. But you name some guys, that's fine.
Well, let's go to your one blade trivia then.
Let's
This
do
will
that.
make you happier. One blade is the one tool that will let you trim, edge, and shave any length of facial hair with a single pass. It's easy to use and it's versatile. One blade does it all. Brandon, hopefully we don't fuck it up for you this week like we did last week.
Last week's trivia question was
Which one?
the top two pass catchers in NCAA history came from the same school in this decade. The answer was East Carolina. Alex Sala, S-A-L-A, Alex Sala. Yeah, okay.
Who
That's
were
his
they? Who
name.
were the guys?
Justin Hardy and somebody else that played with him. a
That's when
teammate.
they had the burnt field.
Right. They were very tough to play there at that
Great
tricky
offense.
stadium. So this
Is that
week's
in
question.
the NFL?
What's that?
Hardy? Is he in the NFL?
Yeah,
I think he
probably.
was. I think he
He
was
was
on
for a
the.
little.
I think he was on the Falcons.
He definitely made a team.
All right, so this week's question. Name the last two non-Power 5 players to finish in the top 5 of the Heisman Trophy. It happened in 2015 and 2017. Name the last two non-Power 5 players to finish in the top 5 of the Heisman Trophy. You can submit your answer on Twitter with hashtag OneBladeTrivia. First to get it right wins. The winner
You
will
know
be
it.
announced next week.
He asked me, and I got it after a couple.
Yeah. So
Rico
15 and 2007.
Rico is a
he didn't play for.
Rico is a clue for one of them.
So it's the running back from San Diego State, like Pumphrey maybe? And
Close, but
it's not him.
It's a different running back from San Diego State.
Rashad Penny.
yes.
And then it's either, I want to say it's either the Northern Illinois quarterback or
Nope.
Paxton Lynch.
Nope.
I mean, you have to redo the question because he's already given away one.
No, I don't have to redo the. I mean, I did.
The other one's tricky. The only one I did not get.
Tough or tricky?
2015 is when this
tricky.
happened, and he is also the all-time leading touchdown scorer in college football history.
So we're just going to give away half the answer?
Ooh.
Yeah. What is it?
Is it Singletary?
No.
It is not.
FAU?
So this is a good question.
This is a good question.
I have. So this
So
is.
somebody has
this
a
one's
head
It's a
staying.
really good
Okay.
question.
So I guess outside of Rashad Penny at San Diego State in 2017, who is the last non-Power 5 player in 2015 to finish in the top 5 of the Heisman?
Keenan
Hashtag
Reynolds,
one Blade
Navy.
trivia.
That's it?
Yeah. I mean, he was getting too cocky with it. I had to do that.
Yeah, let's see. You already knew the answer. You were
Well,
just
I
going
knew
to
the
let him
answer,
have
but
that?
he was getting too cocky
I
with it.
wasn't getting too cocky with
Yeah,
it. I
he
just
was.
adjusted the question. It was going really, really well. It was perfect.
Well, now you have
What's
to give
your
another
next
one.
question?
You son of a bitch. Okay.
This is going to be a thing every week.
Yeah, of
Tough and
course.
tricky and
Name the only name the only school to ever have the #1 NBA and NFL draft pick in the same school year.
Oh, what a question. Oh, is it Oklahoma?
It is not.
That's
That
a good
is
question.
hashtag #OneBlade Trivia. You can answer it on Twitter. Name the only school to ever have the #1 NBA and #1
I know
NFL
it.
draft pick in the same school year. That's your question. Hashtag
I know it.
OneBlade Trivia.
They're
I
in
know
my
it.
ear saying, please go to viral moments so we don't
Okay,
keep room
I
for
know
this.
it. All right.
And if you do One Blade Trivia
know
on
the
Twitter and you
names.
get the answer right, you get a Phillips Norelco One Blade and you get some Barstool
No.
merch. So do that. And
Really?
please save Brandon Walker from this. 'Cause
That's terribly wrong.
You got it wrong?
Yeah, you got it wrong.
I thought it
thinking.
was
All right.
this guy.
It's not. It's not that school. It's
All right,
not.
let's go to
All
viral
right, yeah.
moments.
Big Ev, let's go to viral moments and save Brandon Walker, please.
All right, the first viral moment of the week. You might have saw it. North Carolina knocked off Duke this week, and that means we get some Mac Brown locker room dancing, baby.
Love it.
Hit the clip.
Oh, so he's the best.
I love Mac Brown so much.
Hey, hey.
This game, by the way, was I had
Oh, there it is.
There it
I
is.
had Duke +3. North Carolina had first and goal at I think the 3-yard line. 2.5 minutes going in to ice the game. Fumbled. Duke took the ball, went all the way down the field, had first and goal at the 2, and threw an interception. I've never seen a game end
The
like this.
worst
insane.
jump pass attempt in the
It
history
was
of college
bad.
football.
So bad.
So bad.
Unbelievable. And it ended up just a push.
Those are the ones that take like years off your life because you
Years.
basically work so hard for nothing.
Yeah.
tie.
On both sides.
Big Ev, moment number 2.
All right, going off crazy endings. For those who didn't see, Texas Tech, Kansas last week.
Oh, I saw.
Tie game, I believe 12 seconds left. Kansas is going to kick a field goal. It gets blocked. Texas Tech is returning it, trying to score. They make the dumbest lateral I've ever seen. Kansas gets back on the ball with 1 or 2 seconds left, so they get another chance at the field goal, and they bury it and win the game.
Crazy.
Would you say
football.
that's the definition of college football play?
You've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
it,
That's
you
college
have it.
football.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching this game because I had the over, and I don't know if you do this, Dave. I'm sure you do, but when you hit an over, the over had been hit for 10 minutes. I keep watching just for fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like,
oh,
this
yeah.
is great.
Now
Yeah,
you
that's
can-
That's a great place to be. That's a great
Yeah.
place to
Oh,
be.
this is
Yeah.
great.
So when you were
That
watching
is
that,
good.
you didn't come down to the end, you weren't
No,
sweating up.
I
It
was
like, yeah.
already. Hay was in the barn. I had
Yeah.
won my bet, but I was like, I'm just going to enjoy the
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the
Yeah.
college
Very
football
loud.
play at the end. Moment number 3, Big Ev.
All right, number 3 is late in the Auburn-LSU game, we had an Auburn player, plays over, things are kind of mellowing down. He looks to the sideline and magically just drops to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this was
I guess what I want to ask is, do you guys consider this Bush League or just good strategy?
At this point, it's just good strategy.
Yeah.
because
I
it happens multiple times.
I think
every
at this
week.
point it's good strategy.
yeah, it's good strategy. I mean,
It's a
everybody
part-
knows people are going to talk shit about it, but it works. So
It's
who
a
cares?
part of the game at this point. It's
I
just
think
a
you
part
have
of
to
the
sell
game.
it better.
What
sure,
I don't
but-
understand about this one is LSU doesn't really play at a tempo. So why is he having to stop the game like that? Usually you do
like
these
a
things
look.
with tempo.
Yeah, I don't
was
know how
tired.
you regulate it. It's fair play. They're not going to call it, but you got to call that. You got to call
Shout
it. How do
out-
you prove it? Yeah, I don't know how you prove it, but
Who was the first team to do it? It was against the Buffalo Bills.
it's the
Raiders?
Bills?
Yeah, when Marv Levy, when they ran with Jim
K
Kelly.
gun?
Yeah, they I think it might have been the
doing it.
Raiders did it.
I thought
don't
people were
know.
doing it versus like Oregon.
No, the Raiders did it back in the day. I'm pretty sure they
You
started
can't
faking
regulate it though,
injuries.
because then one time you think it's fake and somebody actually has a really bad injury and you're
Right.
fucked.
It's like when we threw a wallet off Blind Mike's face.
Yeah, just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah,
No,
just
it
like
is.
that. All right, Big F moment number 4.
All right, we had to get to this in there. Friend of the program, Mike Leach, just had an all-time halftime press conference entrance.
Coach, what is your defense doing well against Justin Herbert?
Run into the football and run into the locker room.
That run is just unbelievable.
It's not
That
Ohio
drop-
State, is it? The answer to your question?
No, it's not.
I didn't know if maybe
They
that
played for a national title in the same season. That's right.
I was thinking Odin with one of the linemen, maybe.
No, it's a good guess, and it's not far away, years-wise, from the actual correct answer.
Yeah, I am curious. Well, I won't give it. My mind was racing.
But Mike Leach running there, I mean, we got different. I mean, at this point, Mike Leach is just doing it for the brand, right? For the Mike Leach brand, not the Washington State brand.
I like Mike Leach.
I mean, I don't.
I know the answer.
All right.
That's it. That's got to be it.
Is it? I don't think so.
That is correct.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
That was good.
Good
that was
job,
correct.
Dan. I would have never gotten
I
that.
would never gotten that.
Good job, Dan.
Well, I gave him a hint.
Well, no, you just said. Oh yeah, you did give me that hint. Yes, that's true.
All right, Big Ev, tell us about the Game Face Challenge.
And remember, we still are doing the Phillips Norelco Game Face Challenge. Shave your school into your head, beard, body, wherever you got hair. Send it to us. # Game Face Challenge to be featured on the show.
Let's get to the PointsBet locks of the week. This week, PointsBet is giving new customers up to $150 to start betting with. Sign up for PointsBet with code Barstool. Deposit $50, and you'll get the additional $100 in bonus bets. So now we've officially changed who has the worst record of the season.
I'm so
Dave is
bad.
at 4-9. Dan is at 3-11. Brandon 8-4. Big Ev staying 500 at 12-12. And I'm still playing by the rules and only picking one game at 6-3. Dan,
I'll start.
are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm at the point in the season where
Your hair
if
just
I
got
don't
disheveled.
have what?
Your hair just got
Yeah,
disheveled.
if I don't have a good week, I'm going to have to try to go like billion unit play to get all of it back.
So week 11 might be a billion unit play.
I have on the Pick'em podcast. I have a 28 play card. Yeah.
Hail Mary time.
And I'm going to be adding more as we go. But I like the over in the USC Oregon game. Yeah, it's one of, we've talked about it a million times, but as soon as college basketball comes back around, this is the time the leaves change and you're just out of money.
Always taking water by Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Always.
If you aren't, you're not gambling.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yep.
Like if you're like, oh, Thanksgiving, I'm going to love watching these games. No, Thanksgiving is about betting like all the NBA games on that Wednesday night, praying you can get a winner in the Maui.
Dave, why aren't you hungry? It's Thanksgiving. Because I'm sick to my stomach.
Yeah, because Pepperdine played in the first round of the Maui and they got smoked by Arizona.
Dave, what's your lock of the week?
First of all, I'm very hot. I was 12-5 on the Pick'em podcast. I'm seeing the board in all sports right now very clearly. I love Arkansas plus 7.5 against Mississippi State. Mississippi State should not be favored by a touchdown versus a high school team, never mind another college team.
Arkansas is pretty close to a high school team.
Well,
I mean,
Apparently yours is more of a high school team. I mean, they looked really bad last week against A&M.
there's certain principles. Mississippi State's really bad. On the road, they should not be favored by a touchdown versus anybody. Sorry, Brandon. It's
I don't even know
not
why.
personal.
I don't even know why I disagreed because I actually do agree. I don't know why we're 7.5 point favorites against anybody.
What's the fix for this program? You're spiraling.
So
Joe Moorhead going to Rutgers.
I think Joe Moorhead going to Rutgers and getting an SEC guy or somebody who understands the lay of the land a little better. Because when you're trying to keep up with LSU, Alabama, Auburn, they're not forgiving, so you got to have a certain brand of guy. I don't think we got that right now. He's a nice guy, but I don't think it's working.
You going to bet on Arkansas?
I'm not.
You bet on A&M last year.
I did.
That's tough.
I did.
What's your lock of the week?
My lock of the week, I've got 3. I have got Georgia minus 6.5 over Florida. I already explained the reasoning. I don't have to get into it. Florida State at home. They're not as bad as we think Florida State is. They're actually pretty decent. They got Miami coming in. Florida State minus 3.5 over Miami. And Washington money line over Utah at home. Those are my 3 locks.
Florida State's still pretty bad.
They're not as bad as
Hornibrook's
Miami.
their fucking
And Florida State
quarterback.
is
Both
not.
those teams aren't great.
No,
Yeah.
I'm taking the under in that
I
game.
mean, Florida State is not what you would call a good team.
They're better than I thought they were at the beginning of the season.
That's
Still
what
not
But that
I'm
great.
doesn't
trying
make
to
them like a
Yeah.
good
they're better than Miami. So at home,
Miami beat UVA. I mean, they do
Miami's
weird
tough.
shit.
They're a tough team to get a read on. Although that was a rat game. We called that one out.
Yeah, we did.
Big Ev, what's your lock of the week?
All right, I've got 2. The first one, UCLA minus 6.5. Completely different team. Ever since they ripped my soul out when I bet Washington State against them, they were up 32, ended up losing the game. They've been a completely different team, new offense. Chip Kelly's got them rolling, so I love them. They just steamrolled Arizona State last week, so I love them over Colorado. And I also love A&M minus 39 against UTSA.
Anytime you bet on A&M, they're probably going to rip your heart out unless they're playing Mississippi State, Ev. Just know that.
All right,
I
Kayce.
think this is.
I'm wearing the suit. What do you want me to do?
UTSA
Well, you're
is
giving up on
awful.
the suit. You would rather wear Ole Miss stuff than wear A&M stuff. Put that on the record.
That's actually kind of true.
Which is very sad. I don't know how we've gone this entire show without anybody talking shit about OU, but I'm going to talk about it right now. I want Kansas State -6.5 versus Kansas because I think Kansas State is actually a good football team, and I'm never going to get over what they did last
This
week.
seems like a trap.
I have gone on the record very much so. This is 100% a trap. I love Kansas here. Love them.
I like Kansas State, Kayce. I'm with you.
Les Miles is trying to build something in Kansas.
Kleiman's a
Their
better coach.
rivals.
Yeah, but
Kleiman's
Kleiman's
a very
great.
good
I
coach.
don't.
But they're on the highest high you could possibly be on. Now they're going to a rival on the road. It's a
But
trap.
it's still Kansas.
No, that's a trap.
Kansas is a
I
little
think
bit better.
I think Kansas State
Kansas
is
went to
actually.
Texas and played very, very well. Who cares what Texas is?
Stinks.
Texas
Okay.
is not good. They just lost to TCU by 10.
You're counting on Kansas State. Kansas State's okay, but Kansas State's on the highest high they can possibly
It's
be
only
on.
a touchdown,
rivalry
though.
game.
It's a rivalry game,
know.
and they're on a high to prove
You
that
get
they
up
wasn't
for
a fluke
rivalry
last
games.
week.
There's
Yeah.
no letdown for a
Well, the
rivalry.
beauty is the world's greatest reality show. We'll know next week.
Well, so I'm going to take Kansas State -6.5. PointsBet also has an exclusive boosters for all of our teams this weekend. They're running a special boost for the Florida-Georgia game as well. Over 5.5 total touchdown scores in the game boosted to +150. We'll also be streaming with PointsBet at the end of the Georgia-Florida game, so make sure you tune in at 5 p.m. to catch all the action. Let's go to the Phillips Norelco top 10s now. Phillips Norelco has the most innovative electric grooming tools to help you do what feels right. So, Dave, you talked earlier about how you hope that Minnesota's in everybody's top 10. Is Minnesota in your top 10?
Yeah, they are. So they checked in. I was just looking at Kansas State's schedule.
And?
I mean, yeah, they beat
5-2, right?
they beat TCU and Oklahoma back-to-back weeks. They got demolished by Baylor, and
They beat Kansas State or beat Mississippi State earlier in the season.
and they lost. They 2 double-digit losses to 2 not great teams in Oklahoma State and Baylor. So it's tough to get a read. Anyways, my top 10: Ohio, number 1. The rumor on the street is they are now 2.5 to 1 to win the national title. I gave them out at 9 to 1. That's how you do it. LSU 2, Penn State 3. Why Penn State? Because they're undefeated, and that win versus Michigan looks better after what Michigan did to Notre Dame. Bama 4, still really hasn't played anybody. Baylor 5, undefeated. Clemson 6, undefeated. Florida, Oregon, Georgia, Minnesota sneaks in at undefeated. And you could argue they're undefeated. They should be higher, but they played absolutely nobody. It's a great top 10.
Having
good top
Clemson
10.
below Baylor is a wild move.
Well, Clemson hasn't beaten anybody.
But they've turned it on.
But Baylor has a couple real wins.
Yeah.
They're up.
It's Clemson, though.
That Baylor Oklahoma game is going to be great.
It's,
I mean, they won the
it's-
national championship last year.
But it's this year.
You think that if Baylor played Clemson right now, they're a
That's
better
not
football
how
team?
I don't think. I think there's 30 teams that could probably beat Minnesota, but you got to go on what you do on the field.
Dan, top 10?
All right. I got to see it because I forgot it. Okay. LSU, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Penn State. That's pretty straightforward. I think Oregon's going to have a chance to sneak back in. I like Florida, Utah, Georgia, and I'll put Baylor at 10.
Attaboy, there's the Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor's in.
I mean, Baylor,
Yeah, Baylor's in.
yeah, they should be in.
Yeah.
So I noticed one thing both of you guys did is you dropped Oklahoma all the way out, which
Yep.
I'm fine with that. But you know, you got Utah in there, you got Florida in there. I personally don't drop Oklahoma all the way out. I drop them to 9th. I do put Baylor in there. I don't put Minnesota in there simply because
But where'd App State go?
Well, that was just a one-time stunt. I told you. I
You were
told
just
you.
pandering to
last
App State?
week.
I told
They
you that's
won.
what I
So
was
they
doing.
won. Wait, they won and they got dropped out?
No, there was an App State fan on Twitter that said thank you for the love, so it worked.
Well, why
It
did they get
worked.
dropped out if they won?
Because I told you last week it was a one-time stunt. I told you
Got
on the
it.
show that's what was happening.
Okay.
Oklahoma.
LSU number 1, Ohio State number 2. I think those are the best 2 teams in the country right now. Ohio State.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
I'd like to ask.
Better than anybody I know.
Do we have that? Can we put that back up?
Yes.
The top 10? This is just a theoretical question that I have for you. I see Oklahoma at 9, Baylor at 10.
Yes.
Who beat Oklahoma?
Kansas State.
Baylor, if I'm looking at this correctly, which I believe I am, played Kansas State at Kansas State. They beat them by 20.
That's right.
That's tough.
How do you have Oklahoma ahead of Baylor, who's undefeated?
I think Oklahoma's a better football team than Baylor.
So would you, if they played and Baylor beat them,
They're going to play.
Would you? But
Yeah.
I'm just saying theoretically.
Couple weeks.
If somebody beats somebody, you're like, well, I don't care. I think they're a better football team.
I think on the field, if you beat them, you deserve to be ahead.
So
I
Baylor-
think transitive
Baylor-
property
Baylor-
like you're using doesn't work.
Well, no, it's not just transitive. One's undefeated, one's not.
That's right.
Same conference.
That's
Same
right.
team. They have both played. One beat them by 20, one lost by 20.
That's transitive. They're going to play. As long as they're near each other, I think that's going to come out in the wash very, very soon.
Anybody who has Oklahoma ahead of Baylor in the polls is a lunatic.
I
Unless
think
you're
most
me and you
people
just-
have Oklahoma ahead of Baylor in the polls.
That is true.
But how?
Oklahoma is a perennial playoff
I'll tell you
contender.
how.
Oklahoma lost a road game
They're
to Kansas
in the
State.
same
It's
I'll
bad.
tell you how. Preseason rankings, and that's why
and
the
a Heisman
SEC
candidate.
gets all the
The
fucking
same
bullshit.
conference, the same
Preseason
teams.
rankings.
One's undefeated, one's not. They played the same team. They both played them at Kansas State, right?
Let me ask you this.
And one killed them.
Let me ask you this. If
Your
they-
logic is not bad, but
Wait,
Oklahoma's
Oh, my
bad.
logic's not bad.
Brandon, let me just
thank
ask you
you.
this real quick. Let me ask you this real
Not
quick.
bad logic.
If we went to the more logical way to do these rankings and college football rankings didn't come out till November 1st, do you think that Oklahoma would be ahead of Baylor? No chance in my mind.
I do think so, only because
No
only,
chance,
only for
it's
one
preseason
reason.
rankings.
You're not getting rid of the bias. You're not getting rid of the name bias by doing that.
preseason rankings.
But you're
But
not
everybody
getting rid of
talks
the
about
name
Lincoln
bias.
Riley and Jalen Hurts. I agree with you. I don't think that necessarily they should be, but I think if you take the college football playoff committee, they would probably still rank
It's the
Oklahoma
same
ahead.
reason. It's the same. Can we throw it back up? Can we throw Dave's back up? I just want to look at it.
You want to try to find a hole like that?
No, I
Good
just-
luck.
I just-
Throw Dave's back.
It's the same reason, and this is not you because you've got them up there, but it's the same reason that people have got teams over Minnesota. Like last week, Wisconsin had a loss, but they were ranked over Minnesota. It's the same reason.
But there's a very different part. It's the same exact conference, and they both played the same team. And one's undefeated, and one's not, and one killed the team that beat the
That's a
other.
good top 10. You can't really find a hole in that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be
Baylor
honest.
number 5 is a whole. Baylor's not the 5th best team in the country, Dave.
Why?
Because they're not the 5th best team in the country.
Why? They're undefeated in a power conference.
They're
So
going to
is
play
Clemson.
Oklahoma. Oklahoma is better than Baylor. That's what's going to happen in a couple of weeks. I didn't drop
So
Oklahoma.
wait till a couple of weeks.
Why?
Because
Why?
you have to do on
It's the
what
same
they
reason I
play.
didn't put Auburn in my top 10 a couple of weeks ago because
You
I knew they didn't belong.
Yeah, but there is definitive evidence that the resume is far superior for Baylor.
Why?
Far superior is a
love how
little
you
bit
say
stretching
why.
it, right?
It's
Say why.
really not. One's undefeated, one's not. They both play Kansas State. At Kansas State, one killed them, one lost. That's far superior.
Baylor's best wins are Kansas State and Oklahoma State, yes? Right?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
so.
All right. I mean, listen,
I-
again,
they-
Oklahoma beat Texas, but Texas isn't
I
very
think this
good.
is 6 and 1, half dozen of the other. I don't think this
No,
is
it
worth that big of an
isn't.
argument.
No, it isn't.
It's
They're crazy.
Dave, you marked your calendar to have an argument with me every time I have my top 10 come up
Yes.
because you did it last week.
I have to keep people honest, and that's ridiculous.
I'm very honest. And
Does it-
Oklahoma, I believe Oklahoma should be in the top 10.
Anybody who's watching this and can rationalize how you have Oklahoma ahead of Baylor is lying or an idiot. Which one are you?
I'm not lying, and I'm not an idiot.
Well, I mean, there's nobody can look for a straight face and understand
it's
that
a
logic.
difference of opinion.
It's not, though.
Big Ev, do you have Baylor in your top 10?
I do. They're number 10.
Okay.
But to me, the only team that matters in this top 10 is Ohio State because there's the only team that we have to worry about is ourselves. The only team that can beat us is ourselves. I don't care what anyone says is, oh, you guys haven't played anybody, this, and that. Great teams, whoever you put in front of you, you dominate them, and that's all we've done. That's all I'm worried about is us. In my opinion, the game I am now most concerned about on our schedule is Michigan at Michigan.
Let me ask a question, Dave. You have a future on Ohio State. I have a future on Ohio
Yeah.
State, both at PointsBet. Is there a little part of us that doesn't want the money because we'll have to deal with that fucking idiot?
What did I say that was dumb there?
No, you're just an idiot in general.
It's just.
You said nothing.
I
listen,
mean, and you did just say,
I
you did just say
I
no one can
actually
beat
have
Ohio
come to
State but
believe
yourself.
this is when Michigan's going to beat Ohio State.
No, I
Because
said
fuck you.
it's
I
the
said
one
hand up.
fucking time I have to stand a
I
ton
said,
of
hand
money.
up, they're the game I'm now most
Yeah,
worried about.
and it's like the only time I've ever fucking bet on them in my life. I have a
Yes.
future bet.
I just,
Did you-
I mean,
Did
if
you
we
bet on them last
get some
week?
bad weather at
you bet-
Michigan,
No, I
that'll be
bet
a
on
tough
last
game.
week. But I'm talking like a future. I'm talking real money
Yes.
on Ohio State.
Yes.
Michigan hasn't beaten them in 20 years. They'll beat them this year. I'm rooting for them, and this will be the year they do it.
Yep.
Michigan's rounding into shape.
Big Ev, saying that Ohio State can only lose to themselves is
I'm saying
ridiculous.
we are the only team that I'm worried about. If we play our game, no one can beat us.
I'm
I'm saying if we have to go to the big house, some tough weather, they can run a little power eye, do their thing, play the nitty gritty game. It's going to be a tough game, really tough game.
All right,
Isn't
Mike.
that kind of like a cop out? Like if we play our game, if you play really well, you're probably going to win a
But I'm
lot of
saying
games.
because we are the most talented, the
Well,
most
he's
dominant
saying if
team.
everyone plays their best, Ohio State
like
wins.
we will win. Like if we
I
play
feel
our
like
best,
I'm
no one
breaking
will
everything
beat us.
down for Brandon this week. Sorry.
That was mean.
Are you sorry?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
Brandon,
I don't
if
want to
everyone-
sorry.
You're not sorry. You do it every week.
I have Ohio State as my number one as well. I do not have Baylor in my top 10, but that's because I do not recognize them as a program. I understand Matt Rule is there and it's not the Bryles, but I still hate everything that they did there.
If you did recognize them, who would you have ahead, Baylor or Oklahoma?
I would have to put them ahead of Oklahoma because they're undefeated. But I still think Oklahoma is going to win the Big 12.
Two different conversations.
Yeah, no, if I was going to put them in this, which I'm not, I'm doing what you did with Ohio State last year, I would put them at number 10. But I also think Utah should be in the top 10.
I can't have Oklahoma ahead of Minnesota. Can't do it.
I just don't, I mean, yeah. I think Oklahoma just had a bad week. They're still going to win the Big 12.
But you got to hold that against them.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't put Minnesota ahead of them, but I would put Baylor if I recognize Baylor as a program.
Fair.
Okay, but you had one-loss teams ahead of Minnesota.
Yeah, I know.
But he's saying he wouldn't put Oklahoma ahead
But
of Minnesota.
most of my one-loss teams are, in my mind, excusable losses.
Like Oregon
Georgia.
losing
You
to
had
Auburn.
Georgia ahead of Minnesota. Georgia lost to South Carolina.
Who did I have ahead?
You had Georgia ahead of
right.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
So your
Minnesota-
own logic,
right.
you went
Minnesota's
against.
10. Well, not really, because
No, you did.
Minnesota's beaten nobody.
Okay, but they're undefeated.
Correct. That's why they're in the top 10.
But you have them behind.
A one lot, right? Because the Georgia has more wins than the one loss. It's just the schedule. There's not. What you're trying to do is compare the strings.
No,
on
I'm not trying to do it. I've just successfully done it.
Oklahoma and Baylor play the same team.
Okay, and you made that point.
There's no comparison with Minnesota.
You made that point, but you just said all these teams, the one-loss teams I have ahead of them, they haven't had a bad loss. Georgia lost to South Carolina at home.
I don't know how bad of a loss that actually
That's
is.
a terrible loss.
Double overtime.
South Carolina just went to Tennessee and lost. South Carolina sucks.
I don't know.
Tennessee
South
beat
Carolina.
Mississippi State.
They did. Mississippi State ain't got to come up every fucking sentence, Kayce.
That was a
Why are you
college. That was
laughing
a
out?
college football play game. They had pick sixes. They had things like that.
But
That's
they,
how you win
they
a game
also
like
they
that.
lot
also
of
played
mistakes.
Florida very tough for like 3 quarters the following week.
That's what I say. No, I think South Carolina is a solid team. But I'm saying that's
South
like how-
Carolina is
that's how
not a
if
solid
you're-
team. This
I'm
is
saying
insane.
that's how you beat a team that's better. Pick six, things like that. College football plays. That's how
Good
you
to
get
end the
that
show
win.
on a win for me. Really, I appreciate
That was
it.
a half a win.
No, that was a win. That was a total win.
No, that's not. That's a half a win. Minnesota
Call
hasn't
it.
played
Call it, Dan.
trash.
I think that was a win against like San Jose State.
Yeah, that's
They
fair.
was San Jose State?
That's fair.
You're
Yeah.
San Jose
Was it-
State.
it was-
In that, so that
Yeah.
would be like not
like a
having
light
enough
win.
of a win to
It
for it
like
to
a
change
light
counts
the
as a
rank.
win, but you don't want to brag about
It
it.
counts as a
light
win, but
win.
it's
Yeah.
not going to change my rankings.
That was a win.
That's
Light
really what
win.
it comes down to.
It's a light win.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota just they haven't played fucking dick.
Yeah, it's basically Minnesota beating. Didn't they beat San Jose State?
Did they?
I think so.
San Jose
There
State
you go.
beat Arkansas. I know that.
Minnesota's going to get their chance.
Yeah, they will. And
Yeah,
they're in the
they'll
top
get
10.
their
3 big games coming up for
Couple
them.
weeks. Well, on that note, we all had fun today. You're going to be mad all day?
No, I'm
I
great.
can't wait to get the clip of that Baylor Oklahoma State discussion and blast it on every platform. I
In your
have access
face.
to.
I don't think it's the victory that you feel like it is.
Oh, I think it is.
Well, we will see, and we'll see you guys next week.
We'll see.